Hello everyone, and welcome back to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. We're an all-queer cast Numenera podcast. I'm Kenny, the cast member who plays the lovable and simple lad Hillian. If you love our show, we hope you'll rate us and review us on iTunes or wherever you consume your podcasts. Every review makes Kelric, the GM and producer's eyes, sparkle, and helps new listeners to find us. We don't pay to advertise any of the podcasts on the Experience Points network, so we hope you'll recommend us to your friends and just about anyone. Did you know that we had a Patreon? We are grateful to everyone who's already become a patron. You keep our mics on and our dice rolling. We've got some great rewards, so check them out at patreon.com/experiencepoints.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Qmenera. I'm Kelric, the GM or narrator for this show. My pronouns are he, him. Ha, I remembered Jess. Thank you. And I'm here today with my fabulous cast.
Hi, I'm Jess, who just got scolded, I think. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Tiyune, a mechanical nano who rides the lightning, and her pronouns are also she, her.
Hello, my name is Aaron. My pronouns are they, them, and I play Railu, a graceful glaive who speaks with a silver tongue, and they also use they, them pronouns.
Hi, my name is Kenny, and my pronouns are he, they, and I play Hillian Jossa, an earnest jack who howls at the moon. His pronouns are he, him. After our Anine trek through the Badenu forest, we met with Tiyune and a person named Hegprud. We made camp while Hegprud cooked. They really like their food and comforts. Oh, and he had these really delicious mushrooms. Jacques found a great place in their bag and was able to find some more for himself. Hegprud seemed to be very interested in what happened in Edredwan.
Would anyone like to add anything else?
Hold on, I'm not done.
Oh.
Sorry, just the cat was asking a question.
Howlian became Meowlian.
I am so going to get a spray bottle.
Hegprud seemed really interested in what happened in Drededwan. Later that evening, I was helping them with some things, and they pulled out this very large Numenera that was doing something very interesting. Well, after that, they bid me good night rather quickly. I went in and tied myself to Tiyune like they asked. We sometimes play this fun sleeping game where I get tied to them. When we all woke up, a large, amazing breakfast was ready for us. But Hegprud was gone.
All right. So, Hillian and Railu have woken up, and you have found some gifts from Hegprud left for you. I believe Hillian found some mushrooms, and Railu found a note with an actual 2 or 3 page little scroll sort of thing just talking about their healing sword. So they had some information, and the two of you chatted a bit and were just waiting for Tiyune to awaken and join you. Is that correct? Everyone on the same page?
I also have it written down that and on top of the information on healing Numenera, I also got instructions on how to get to Ephremon.
Yes. Yes. It's basically go down the road. So
perfect.
You're in good shape.
It's real worried I'd get lost.
Go forward.
That road, keep going. It took a while to get that into. I think it was passed through Hillian, so it took some time. Just kidding. All right, so it is morning, and there is this wonderful breakfast smell. Everyone except for Tiyune is up. Action.
Morning, Hillian.
Hi. This is a great breakfast.
I'm amazed you're up this early. Normally I'm doing my exercises myself. Was it the smell?
It was absolutely the smell. And Jacques was really, really anxious to get out here and start eating.
And Railu does one of those like backward bend things and then walks forward and goes, I guess I can skip practice today, and sits down next to Hillian and starts eating.
Aw, I was picturing you doing a back bend and then just like crab crawling in that weird position over to Hillian to have breakfast. Like, I need a good stretch. Weird.
That is really creepy.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm like that.
Apparently this is today. Today is this.
Wrong game, y'all.
All right, so y'all are having breakfast?
Yeah, and so Jacques is actually on the table and like has like food, and you see Jacques kind of just like stuffing cheek pouches.
Have you seen Hegprud today? I'm assuming he made all this.
I think he's already gone.
He's what?
I mean, his current's not here.
All right, this is gonna happen. I'll go get Tiyune. I feel like that's a great time for Tiyune to wake up.
Yeah, probably with Hillian like eating and moving around, the scarf was pulling on her a little bit, and she's waking up and walking over.
Why don't you do a quick perception check, Tiyune? Oh, yeah. So as you're exiting the tent, I think you do a quick double take as you look back in. And if you recall, you were using the scarf to keep the Numenera device wrapped up. And then you had to unwrap it to tie yourself, get tied to Hillian. And it does not appear to be in your tent anymore.
The scarf or the Numenera?
The Numenera. The scarf is tied around your ankle. But you slept really well. Like, you feel extremely well rested.
Like maybe we were drugged.
Or something. Mm-hmm. Like maybe something was done that you slept like babies.
Okay, yeah, Tiyune will come out and say, well, we need to get on the road to Ephremon and get the heck out of here right quick.
Tiyune, just sit down and have breakfast. Hegprud made it.
Hegprud stole the Numenera device and is probably headed back to Adridawan, and we don't know what the range on that thing is, so I think we should get on to Ephremon and try to get out of range.
Railu grabs Hillian and just starts pulling him towards the Indian.
But there's soldiers!
No, we need to go now, Hillian. Let's go.
Tiyune's going to start like throwing everything together to get packed up as quickly as possible. Probably while Hillian is still like stuffing his face with food.
Hillian has actually gone towards like scooping stuff off the table into a bag.
I love it because I imagine the scene of like the anime scene where Riley's trying to pull Hillian and Hillian's doing the waving arm thing.
And somehow they're still waving arms and pulling food at them. Mm-hmm. Amazing. All right, yeah. So y'all start getting packed up and getting ready to go. And
how did he get in your tent without you knowing?
I think probably he drugged us, because I don't know about you, but I feel all the way rested from that night of sleep. And that's not usually how I sleep.
Wait, okay, that's a different thing. First off, you need to sleep better. But also, what do you mean he drugged us?
If I slept through someone coming into the tent and getting Numenera. I slept later than I normally do. We all ate the food that he made last night. It seems like none of us woke up to anything, to whatever he was doing, rummaging around things and making this whole spread of breakfast, and not one of us woke up while he was still here. I think probably we were drugged in some way.
Bet you it was Numenera.
So I think we need to get out of here. Whatever it was.
All right, and Railu will help pack up after that great scene of Hillian and all that. We'll help pack up their stuff, and then, we're get the hell out of Dodge.
All right, so y'all are just really quickly trying to pack everything up. If y'all can do speed rolls, it's a DC 3, nothing big. And, of course, Railu is stealthy. Everyone else is like, hey, just make as much noise as we can, because we just need to get out of here. Sure, let's see what that happens then. Someone roll a D4.
It's a 4.
Perfect. So, as you were packing up and hurriedly moving about, you all see a green-skinned reptile that is slowly creeping up towards Jacques.
Who sees it?
All of you see it, because it is obviously going toward Jacques, and you all are moving around a lot. So it's visible. The question is, do any of you know what it is? So if you would like to do a DC 2 int check, then...
How big is it?
It's a lizard. It's not huge.
Oh, it's like a regular lizard. Oh, how about a 20?
Nice. Okay, so this is a thing called a lac, Laak, and it is a small green-skinned poisonous reptile. They attack larger prey when they're in small groups, but this is a lone one. And you know that they can leap with surprising speed and strength. They're found almost everywhere, so it's not extremely surprising to find one. The only place you don't usually find them are cold regions, and they are immune to all known venoms. Their blood is useful in various antitoxins. So this thing is creeping up on Jacques. Sometimes, you know, Aaron, just from your experience, so Railu would know, sometimes they are captured when they are young and trained as vicious pets and guardians, and they can be frightened off by displays of power, such as fire, noise, and the like.
Interesting. I feel like Railu is going to... Okay, so for my major effect, and I don't know if this is... I'm going to ask Hillian as well, because it's Hillian's pet. Can I be like, Jacques, come here? And Jacques just like runs over to me before it gets within range.
Yeah, I feel like Jacques is... I mean, even though it's my pet, would listen to anyone in the party.
Okay.
I mean, that's up to... I don't know. Is that sound appropriate?
I think for a major effect, if that's what you want, that's perfectly fine. But as soon as Jacques starts to run, the lock is going to pounce on it. Lock. I like lock. Lock. It's a lock.
A lock of hair. I was hoping that it could... that I'd be able to call it before it was within range, though.
Yeah, but remember, it can leap with surprising speed and distance. Yeah. So it's going to start coming really quickly. It's going to give chase.
Cool.
And with your roll, you know that if there were many of them, this would be a problem. But since it's just one, you're not really afraid of it. You're more afraid that it can take Jacques. But y'all can... I think you would feel pretty confident that you could take it if you decided to kill it rather than scare it off.
You said they're poisonous, yeah?
They are poisonous, and their blood is used in a lot of antivenoms. So there might be some value in collecting that if you wanted to.
I'm trying to consider if I want a pet or if I want money.
Tiyune, what do you think? Do you care what Railu wants with this thing?
I was going to ask, so do all of us know that they can be scared off with like loud noises and things, or is that just Railu who knows that?
I think everyone but Hillian knows that it can be scared off with loud noises. You don't know about the value of the blood and stuff, I think.
Okay.
Since they're so ubiquitous to all regions except cold regions, I think all of you know that since there's only one currently, you feel pretty confident. If more show up, then it might become more of an issue.
It has a TN of 3 and 3 health.
I mean, okay, so I feel like I don't know what our party's thoughts are on killing things. I know Railu is in one way or another.
Tiyune, when she sees Railu call Jacques, out of range of it, is just gonna, throw her arms out to get her cape to kind of, flutter even bigger, to make herself look big, and not try to be super loud and potentially get more people coming, but hope that, looking big with this very bright scarf or, very bright cape will sort of scare it off and just kind of, stomp her feet a little bit, because at this point, like, we're in a rush to get out of here. At least Tiyune is, because we don't know what's going on with like Hegprud, or if Hegprud went to the village and is already there and is gonna like send people after us or what. Tiyune just cares about getting out of here. So she'll just like do that very quickly, kind of stomp her feet and turn right back to like throwing stuff on her knee to get the heck out of here.
If that doesn't work, I'll be like prepared to chuck my razor ring at it.
Cool. Do a might roll. Let's see. I mean, you're trying to instill some fear, so let's see what happens. I mean, I don't think it's going to be hard. Let's see. Oh, yeah, you scare it right off. Like, it sees that, and it leaps at Jacques, and then it sees you, like, Batgirl yourself up, and it just turns and leaps the opposite direction. It's like, nope, out. So, well done.
Tiyune's doing a great impression of a Dilophosaurus.
Excellent. So it just turns and runs away, and it might remind you that you are in a forest where Juraskar are known to be living, and there are many, many dangers along this road. As you are packing, maybe some discretion is called for. But yes.
I give Jacques some scritches while he's on my shoulder.
I think Hillian, like, this was a very quick happening tableau, and Hillian was very distracted by food and turns around and watches all of this unfolding at once. And then as soon as Jacques is on Railu's shoulder, Hillian will go up to Jacques and be like, "Oh, you poor little thing. You have to be more careful, little Jacques."
Well, it's just scritching and then hands Jacques over. Like, here you go, Hillian. Saved your pet. Love little Jacques.
You can't let food distract you like that.
Okay, so you all start getting everything packed up. It takes you, I would say it takes you about half the time it normally takes you because you're hustling. Are you all trying to be more quiet now, or are you...
I'm always quiet.
Yeah, well, with that roll, you're definitely always quiet. You're fine. You were fine.
Tiyune is trying to be quiet, but at this point, her concern is speed over silence.
That's fair. Okay, so all of you get everything packed up. You've got your 4 anine. Hegprud did not take anything else, it would seem, and you're able to get on the road. So you get on the road to Ephremon.
Well, as we're heading out, Tiyune wants to just see if she can like tell from tracks that Hegprud for sure went back to Edredwan, or if it seems like maybe he went elsewhere.
Yeah, okay, so that's a, I guess, int roll for tracking. So, okay. Yeah, let's make that a DC 3.
Okay, and she is going to apply, or I'm going to apply effort.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you totally know that Hegprud definitely was heading towards the village. That's where they're going. That's what they think is important. And so that's cool. What's happening.
As we're riding, Railu will go, if we get there fast enough, maybe we can get the rest of the order to go and stop Hegprud. I don't... And then just, like, stops.
I mean, we can let people know what's going on, but I'm not going back to Edredwan, and if they want to go back to Edredwan, like, that's up to them.
I hope they were able to corral all of those anine. That stampede looked really bad.
Oh, I could care less about the city personally, but honestly, I just don't want another person from the priesthood to get hurt. I don't want that on my plate.
All right, yeah. So as you're going along, Tiyune, in your saddle, you see a piece of parchment sticking out of it.
Cool. What's it say?
Awesome. So it is a note to you from Hegprud, actually. And it says, Tiyune, I know this is not likely to be a comfort to you, but I feel that the device you carry and the village's needs outweigh your distrust. I'm saddened to think that this will further your distrust in the Order, but my belief is that a more experienced hand is needed in dealing with this issue. I understand the risks I am taking, and I release you and your colleagues from this obligation. Should you continue on your way to Ephremon, you will find that the local Aeon priest representative is named Geston, and he can assist you with getting this message back to the Order. He will be happy to give you the Order's response and set you on your next task. Upon entering Ephremon, travel through the gates and head to the mid-tree level on the north side and find the home marked MLNE, and it will have the symbol of the priesthood, just in case you had forgotten. And attached to that, you find a cipher, which has already been added to your inventory, which is a psychic reader.
Okay, and then, I can look it up in the rulebook, but does Tiyune recognize the psychic reader?
It would have, Hegprud would have left you a quick rundown of what it is. And so it's in your inventory. You can just click on it and see what it lets you do. I would like you to roll a d6 now so we can determine its level. All right, it's level 1. So this particular one allows you to tell if someone is lying to you or not. And it is a one-shot use cipher. It is a headband with bangles that fall down in front of the user's eyes, and it allows you to tell if someone is lying to you or not for a short duration. And so that is Hegprud's apology gift to you, and as much of an explanation as you're going to get from Hegprud currently, unless you ever see them again. Who knows?
I kind of doubt it.
Same.
And I don't know if you would choose to share this with anyone else or not, but that was in your pack and set up so that you would find it.
As we're, like, if I find it while we're already, like, on the road, she'll sort of lean over and say, like, yes, Hegprud did say that they took the Numenera and headed back to Adredawan because they feel like we just weren't good enough to do it right. So they decided that they had to go try.
I mean, honestly, are we galloping or are we just strolling?
I mean, we'd be... Tiyune would have, like, led us on a pretty... not exactly, like, super quick pace, but we're not strolling slowly. Like, we're trying to get the heck out of here.
Okay. I mean, honestly, we aren't the best or most experienced priests, and it's out of our hands, and that's all that really matters.
I never said we were the best. I'm just saying that clearly Hegprud never believed us about what a danger it was, so if Hegprud wants to go get himself killed out there, that's fine. He is welcome to do it. Right now, our main concern is hoping that we're out of range of that device because we don't know if it's going to be activated or exactly what it'll do when it is. And we can't go to Ephremon yet.
Railu will squint over at Tiyune and just be like, well, what you're saying is practical. This is also why we don't let you talk to people. And then, like, giddy up a little faster.
I mean, I'm not the one who did this, but okay.
If you shared the prayer liturgy with Hillian, I imagine it's so prolific in our order that they actually have it to a tune. And so Hillian is just, and just like humming the tune of the liturgy.
Awesome. So you are roughly 2 days out from, 2 days ride, 2 nights rest from Ephremon, which y'all are aware of. And so you'll be on the road for the next 2-ish days. So are you all planning on stopping for meals? Are you eating in the saddle? How are you letting the Anine rest at all? What is your plan here?
I would think that, do any of us have experience with Anine? Do we know how hard we can push an Anine?
I think all of you rolled well enough on the writing skill that you know enough about Anine to know that they're pretty hardy beasts and they can go a pretty decent speed. If you push them to go a faster speed, you are less stealthy, and so you will draw more attention. If you go at a slower speed and stop to care for them more, then you're able to be stealthier. It just takes you, a little longer to make your journey. It's up to you what you think is most important.
I think the way that, and please feel free to correct me, but the way that we've been talking and acting, that we're probably pushing like hard the first day, and then the second day probably not so much. We just want to get as much distance between us and that place now.
Okay. So the first day, you're pushing pretty hard. I would like who has, well, I think we know who has the best speed defense. Who has the worst speed ability?
I have 15.
Oh, then I do. Minus 12.
Okay, so I would like the two of you, the highest and lowest, to roll your speed defense, and this will be your stealth. And since you're going fast, it's going to be a DC 4, which is... Actually, no, since you're going fast, I think a DC... I think a DC 4 is reasonable. DC 4. So you have to beat a DC 4.
So I actually have 14 points in speed, so Hillian has more speed than me. So is it going to be Hillian and Jess rolling?
Yes.
Oh!
Nice.
Perfect.
I'm going to apply effort. Rolling balls today.
Okay, well, I would say that Tiyune is doing a fantastic job leading you all in your merry little race against possible transformation. And Hillian is getting so distracted because it's really, really hard to control Hillian's Anine for him. So as you are going along, you hear some pretty mighty crashing ahead of you in the forest off to your left. Probably about 60 feet away, but because Tiyune is so in tune with what's going on and paying attention to the forest, Tiyune is able to get Railu's help, and you all have heard this crashing before as you were running through the forest, and you recognize it as the sound of a Juraskar crashing towards you. You have a lot of time to figure out what you're going to do. It is far enough away and coming towards you because of that nat 20 that you have time to try and pull off the road and hide or do something before this Juraskar might find you. What do you do?
Since I got that major effect, I would like us to pull off the road and hide. And would it be possible for the major effect to be that, like, another animal or something runs by and, like, distracts it and leads it away?
I think that is perfectly reasonable. I think, yeah, nat 20, I'm going to, yes. You can say a flying saucer came and took it, and I'd be like, maybe, I don't know. Yes, you're available to avoid this Juraskar, but you do see it, and you see that it's a slightly immature one. It's, it's not as big as the previous two that you saw. It's just sort of running along, and what you see it chasing basically is like 4 or 5 of those lock that you had seen earlier, and it's just sort of following after them, sort of playing, mostly trying to eat them.
It's kind of cute.
In a horrifying predator way.
With the 20, would it actually be possible for where the little lock lead it to be just like kind of behind us on the trail, so that if someone did happen to be like following us on this trail, the Juraskar would now be blocking their path for a little while? Like, they could probably easily like distract it from there, but
Absolutely.
maybe it might throw people off. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, the lock come bounding out sort of in front of your area by about 20 feet onto the road, and the Juraskar just burst through the trees there, and they turn and they start running down the road in your direction. But you all have found a nice hiding place, and they are, of course, terrified, and they just keep running down the road because it's super clear before they pass you by another 40 feet, and the Juraskar just slams down the road after them. And then they sort of split off in either direction, and the Juraskar doesn't know which way to follow, and so it's sort of hesitates, and then it just keeps going down the road looking for prey. So,
Perfect. Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, it keeps the road behind you slightly clearer. And being intelligent individuals, you decide to wait until it's out of sight before you come out of your hiding and continue on your way. Hurrah! You rolled a natural 20 and you are fine.
Yay!
Except for all those natural ones.
Yeah.
I need to reset my dice. I don't know what's going on.
I think as we continue onward, unless something else happens, Railu would pull up next to Tiyune, and all right. So I think we know what day is coming up soon, and we need to stay outside of town. But I think it's also important to reach out to the Order. Do you want me to go into town while you and Hillian stay out? And of course I'll come back, but just while you guys stay out on the outskirts, I'll travel inward.
Yes, I think that would be fine.
All right, I'll reach out to the Order and tell them that we ran into Hegprud and tell them that we think that he's in danger and where he headed, but that's all. And I will try to get us some supplies from the town as well and send off our message. And then I will come back. Of course, that's tomorrow, but just good to always have a plan.
Yes. Something else to keep in mind is that I think this would be an excellent time to practice discretion. We want them to know where Hegprud went and that Hegprud has a dangerous Numenera device and went back to Adredaron where they are aggressive toward Eon Priests and that Hegprud might be in danger. But I think as little information as you can share to get that point across would be best at this point. So maybe no making promises, no just volunteering unnecessary details. As discreet as you could be about this, I think would be the way to go.
Railu does that teenager, rolls their eyes dramatically, tilts their head back, everything, and just goes, I wasn't even going to mention the Numenera device, and I still don't plan on it. If you would like, though, you can storm in there and tell them all about it and then just leave. It's not as tactful as I would suggest, but...
I mean, you can try to insult me all you like. It's not going to work because I don't care what you think about me. All I'm saying is that this town is already in so much danger. Hegprud is in danger. Now's not really the time for this attitude. Now is the time to be careful. So you can take that attitude wherever you want because it doesn't bother me any. I have bigger concerns.
You try to have one decent conversation with the person, and Railu will just slow down there. I mean, to be back where I assume Hillian is, and just start talking to Hillian.
Well, I think actually Hillian hears the escalation in volume and comes to, so, do we know what we're doing for dinner tonight?
Yeah, we'll probably eat some of the food that you threw into your bag.
Your bag has to be gross. We need to clean that out, too.
I don't know how much is left.
Well, we'll hopefully find something. And we do still have some provisions left over, right? From travel and stuff.
Oh, y'all only spent one night, and Hegprud provided dinner, so you all have all of the rations. You're fine.
Yeah, we still have plenty of provisions. We'll find food, and hopefully Tiyune would have grabbed Hillian's provisions once she saw Hillian pour a bunch of food in their bag and be like, "No, I have 2 people's worth, so we'll be fine." And by 2 people's worth, I mean 1 night for Hillian.
Oh, is that okay? So pause. Is that a mechanic? Do you consume double the amount of food, or can we make that a mechanic even though it's negative?
Hillian needs to eat a medium-sized beast when in beast form. So
fair. Oh god, a medium-sized.
Because Tiyune knows that Hillian gets really hungry in the days leading up to it, so she tries to keep the food away so that she has it ready to keep him nearby. Be like, "Oh, are you wandering off? But what about this food that I have? Aren't you interested in this food?"
Yeah, that's a part of why Hillian sleepwalks is because they're hungry.
Oh, goodness.
I love that. And I love that as you get closer to your howling at the moon phase, you do get hungrier, almost like pubescent teen who's about to get a growth spurt. And so people have to protect the amount of rations that are there, or you will just eat 3 times the amount of food as a normal person. I kind of love that. Again, I will remind you, you just saw Juraskar, but Tiyune and Railu can't seem to help themselves but to argue and get loud like siblings who can't control themselves.
I didn't say we were yelling. Railu never yells. They just are sassy.
Yeah, Tiyune definitely wasn't yelling because Railu was not worth that to her. She was just sort of like, you can take that attitude and you can get right the hell out of this space.
I imagine that both Tiyune and Railu are very skilled at the type of communication.
There's definitely a lot of like under her breath muttering for Tiyune. A lot of that, if that's what you want to be about.
I love this. It's my favorite.
We're basically like Tiyune and Railu are basically like parents who despise each other but don't want our poor precious baby to know that. So like if it's just us two, we're ready to like tear each other's throats out, but the second Hillian rolls up, we're like, come here, my sweet baby. Are you okay? Tell me what you need. I will give you anything in this world.
See, I love that you see it that way because I kind of see it like, because I assume Tiyune's what, mid-20s-ish?
Probably like late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, and Railu's like, what, 17, 18? So I feel like it's an older sister, younger sister, well, sibling, older sibling, younger sibling thing, where it's like, why are you always so mean to me all the time? You know what? This is ridiculous. I just want to hang out and be nice, and you're so mean.
I do see Railu as that kind of innocent, actually, in this interaction. Like, it's clueless as to how infuriating they can be.
Yeah, that's how I see Railu.
That's amazing. I do love that. Awesome. Anyway, so fine. You all managed to keep it to a moderate tone, but Hillian is tuned in enough to know that, maybe I need to be present for just a moment.
Hillian needs attention.
Hillian is baby.
Come here, sweet baby. I'll give you all the attention you need.
And that is your road trip for the rest of today. And as you're reaching roughly a normal day's travel, you see another rest area or overnight space like you left. This is, again, you're 2 nights out, so you have tonight and tomorrow night before you get to Ephremon. And you notice that this one is a little bit more built up. Like the other was more of a secluded clearing and just kind of a semi-private place with a fire pit area that was not as built up because it's pretty far from the city. This one, you see it has like a low, like quarter wall, and if you start camping there, then you notice other amenities to it that are in place. Do you choose to pull over, or are you going to try and just keep going through the night?
How far have we gotten?
You've roughly gotten a little bit more than a third of the way to your destination, because you have tonight, and if you push through, then the night, then you'll be roughly half a day, but you'll have had 0 sleep to be able to, and the Anines will have had no sleep.
Tiyune, do you think we should... you know that device better than anybody. Do you think we should keep going?
I think that we have to stop. We need to rest, and we need to let our Anine rest. And we should come up with a better plan than just, you'll meet us in a couple of days. This would be a good time for us to talk, and then Hillian and I can maybe try to wait here or as close to here as possible while you go on to Ephremon, and then we can try to figure out maybe like some landmarks around here where you can meet back up with us in a couple of days.
Is Hillian near us?
I think Hillian's probably hitching the Anines up and getting some water sacks out so that they can go and refuel for us.
I mean, at this point, Hillian's probably never more than like 6 feet away because Tiyune is not untying that indestructible scarf for any reason.
Oh, even during the day?
No.
Oh, okay. So Railu will like get a little too close and personal because they need to whisper, and they'll be like, "Do you think you can find enough food for Hillian out here on your own? I know you can, but like, do you think the resources are available?"
I do think resources are available. There's tons of wildlife out here. I think the real problem will be making sure Hillian doesn't go after something too big.
Do you need me back before then? I can continue riding through the night if we need to.
I mean, if you think you can make it, it wouldn't hurt. Like, it would definitely help to have another person here to help me wrangle Hillian. But I also, like, if you need a break, then you need a break. It's not going to do any good to anyone to have you, like, passing out when you get there.
All right, I'll rise before everyone tomorrow, and I'll travel on my way. I think do you want to meet back here, or do you want to? Are you two continuing forward?
I'll try to keep Hillian as close to this clearing as possible, and when Hillian wanders off, because that will happen, I'll track him down and we'll come back here. So, or as close to here as we can, because I am still worried that the people from Ephremon are going to come up this road looking for us. So if we're not here when you get back, I'll try to leave some sort of like signs or something for you to find where we went to.
Okay, and Railu starts to step away and pauses and like gets just a little past Tiyune to where like they can leave and goes, "I like it when we work together," and then like walks off and like pitches their tent.
All right. So, real quick clarification. You all are 2 nights away from there. This is your first night. So, if Railu gets up in the morning and leaves early, they would still have to go a full day and night and then part of the next day to get to Ephremon.
Okay, that's right. I was thinking this was the last night, but you're right. So then basically that whole plan, but for tomorrow night. We'll make it like the next clearing and then...
Oh, okay. I thought you were wanting to stay this far back. Like I genuinely thought you wanted Hillian this far from town.
I mean, that would be ideal, but we also don't want to make Railu have to travel 2 days both ways just to find us. Like the quicker we can get Railu back to us would be probably better.
Railu's a team, they'll do it.
The further away we are, the more Jurassic are between us and the town.
Yeah.
And other things. It's not like Jurassic are the only things you have run into in this forest that will kill you.
What are the name of those cute puppy things?
Ooh, Seskies.
Seskies.
I want one so bad.
Me too.
Could have had one. Gave you the chance.
Okay, first off, Hillian would eat a Sesky the first chance that...
Better the Sesky than you, but whatever. Sure.
Okay, so do we want to just retcon that to next night? Because I actually thought that, like, Railu being way overconfident and just doing that sounded about right.
Totally fine. So, anyway, for this night, as you get your camp set up and you explore, you see that there are, built into this little quarter wall, little areas for you to put up torches so that you can have better lighting throughout the night if that's what you want. There are, there's the fire pit. There's actually a latrine area that's, reasonably far from camp, but still sort of in a protected space. Like it has camping amenities. It's the difference between just going camping with your friends and just finding a spot and going to a camping area where you can pull off the road and you're like, oh yeah, here's my camping spot. And then, 50, 60 feet away, there's another camping spot for other people to camp out and stuff. Y'all can get set up and everything's pretty easy. If you spend some time looking at the wall, you'll notice that it has different herbs packed around it that seem to, repel insects and other such things. So you're in pretty decent shape.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, after what happened last night, I think it'd probably be Railu would want to set up a watch after what happened last night.
Seems reasonable.
I think Hillian would go around the area just investigating, because seeing the Jurassic and then the other creature that tried to eat Jacques, they'd want to kind of know if this was a safer space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do a quick int check to see what you find.
Ugh,
You feel perfectly safe.
that's awful.
Everything's great.
Awesome.
A 2 is going to tell you that everything is awesome.
Cool. Hillian is blissfully unaware of anything.
For the guard watch, since there's only 2 of us that were willing to leave alone, do we just want to do Tiyune and then, or Railu and then Tiyune and then just 2 hours unguarded?
Either that or like have a short night anyway, so not try to get like a full 8 hours of sleep. So that way we're not spending too much time stationary in this camp, especially on this road where anyone could easily find them. So let Hillian sleep through as much of the night as possible, but the 2 of us maybe do like 3 or 4 hours each and then just get right back on the road in the morning.
Does that give us ill effects game-wise, Cal?
I think for this one, it is going to... You will all lose the first recovery roll for your next day, except for Hillian. If Hillian gets a full night's sleep, but the rest of you just consider it having used 1 recovery roll so far.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Cool. So we'll take like a 4-hour watch throughout the night.
Yeah. Okay. Is Hillian okay with this? Is Hillian...
I think Hillian's fine with it, but so when things are set up, they'll sit around whatever, like if they have a fire, then they'll sit around the fire, whatever. But you'll notice that Hillian is very circumspect and quieter than normal and just seems to be watching the moon.
Tiyune keeps trying to distract Hillian with snacks.
I think Hillian will like eat, but not because they want to. Like they're doing it because it's put in front of them, and they're kind of a machine at this point where that's concerned. But like they aren't happy.
That's reasonable.
Have we seen this before, or is this a new development?
I don't know. Like you've been around him for several months, but I don't know that you've been that in tune.
Well, and I think this is a slightly different interaction because Hillian is trying to see the moon through the forest canopy, but it's very thick and the trees are constantly moving, and you have that, I don't know if it's unnerving to you all or not at this point, but you hear the trees just creaking in the wind as they are being blown in the top of the trees. So it's not a quiet night. You've been in here now for a couple of days, so you may have become slightly accustomed to it, but the creaking of the trees is not comforting. And for Hillian, if looking at the moon as transition is coming upon them is important or focusing in some way, not being able to see the moon, I can see being a little upsetting.
Yeah, like if you're watching Hillian closely, like you'll notice that they may even be shedding a tear or 2.
Tiyune is definitely trying to comfort Hillian and like asking what's wrong and if they're okay.
Hillian doesn't respond too much, but he may say something like, I feel empty.
Railu, I feel like Railu tries to get Hillian to talk about their favorite adventure. Railu tries to coax Hillian into, oh, Hillian, you remember that story you started telling me a while back about insert details here that you want to make up.
Sure.
Tell me more. I don't know if Hillian responds, but Railu's definitely trying to get him to be like, oh, reminiscent, and tell me this thing.
I think that Hillian will play along with the distraction a bit, and he'll say, "Oh, if I remember correctly, I was young, and when I was little, I would play, and we would go hunting, and there were other people with me, and it was a lot of fun." And then they would go off into this story that you've heard some details of, but not a whole lot about. And they won't be able to recall any names or any like concrete details, but they'll talk about the animals that they've seen, especially ones that sound like the Seski, and they'll talk about pride in having like found these creatures and hunting them. And then they'll kind of trail off before they go to bed. Like before they fall asleep, they'll start talking, and then when they fall asleep, they'll start saying, "I miss Jacques."
Railu, I don't know if Hillian like walks off when that happens and goes to bed, or if it's like a whole process of us, getting the tents together and everything. But Railu just kind of like looks down and stares at the ground a little bit, and I don't know if anyone hears them, but they're just like, this time is going to be worse than before.
Hillian's going to bed then?
Yeah.
Okay. Tiyune, are you following so you can tie them up, or are you disturbed and sitting outside the tent for a bit? What are you doing?
Yeah, Tiyune will first make sure that Hillian is tied, so they can't like escape in the night, and then might go like sit outside their tent, and maybe even like when it's Riley's watch, just try to sleep like right outside Hillian's tent and not even like set up her own.
Okay. So you two get some sleep, and Aaron, why don't you roll just an int check, and let's see if anything happens throughout the night.
Cool. I'll apply some effort too.
Okay.
And so 16 plus the effort.
Yeah, so with a 16, your watch is completely uneventful. I think you hear from Hillian's tent just lots of tossing and turning and maybe some mumbling, but nothing that's super loud. I don't think... Yeah, with the 16, I think Hillian doesn't yell out or anything. He's just... You can tell that he's not sleeping great. Like, something's going on. Tiyune, Tiyune is not going to sleep super well just because it's not a comfortable place. It's not a great position. It's just an okay night. It's sort of like that first night of being in your 30s and sleeping on the ground and realizing, I'm too old for this. Yeah, I need to bring a cot next time because this is ridiculous. This is a young person's thing. And so you're going to wake up a little stiff, a little cranky, but, semi-rested with the amount of sleep you got. You and Tiyune and Railu will have that moment of Railu waking Tiyune up and y'all talking about anything that happened and then swapping places. Nothing? Okay.
Oh, I mean, if nothing happened overnight, we probably would just be like, yep, all clear still. All right, I'll wake you up in a couple hours.
Okay. Yeah, just making sure you didn't want to have a conversation with Hillian completely out. So Railu is going to take the exact same spot that Tiyune was in to make sure Hillian stays there, or where are you sleeping?
Okay, so our tent's big enough for only one person? Like the tents we have?
No, they're big enough for 2 people, plus a dangerous Numenera that if you accidentally touched it in your sleep could transform everyone and possibly everything in who knows what radius that you all slept in the other night. So I think it's fine. Perfect.
So I think that Railu would actually go in the tent because they trust Tiyune to keep us safe, and would like tie up their arm or leg or whatever the regular position is and go to sleep in the tent.
Okay. So let's see what happens during Tiyune's watch. Do you have anything that you want to set up that Tiyune does that gives you some sort of bonus for this kind of watch? I don't know if Tiyune has anything. I know you've got your scan ability and stuff, but I don't know if you have anything else that you can do to help you out here. But whatever it is, go ahead and make your roll to see if anything happens.
Yeah, Tiyune has scan and sense magic and would probably just in general like do both of those things and maybe like walk the perimeter really quickly to make sure nothing seems out of the ordinary before like picking a spot with a good vantage point and just getting up every couple of minutes to walk the perimeter again and just keep an eye out.
Okay, so for that, I would give you advantage on this roll, and in Numenera, advantage basically means it drops the difficulties down by a step. Just add +3 to whatever it is you roll, and will, determine if anything happens from there.
Okay, and I'm also going to apply effort.
Okay. Cool. Nothing
So
happens. So, yeah, a 10, totally even night. Nothing happens. You are hearing Hillian still having a pretty disturbed slumber, struggling his way through the night. He's asleep, and he's not trying to come out of the tent. He's just tossing and turning. And it seems like Railu is having a bit of a issue with sleeping as well. Like, I don't know if they're picking it up from Hillian or what, but you're hearing some... Just the tent is very... You can tell that the people in there are not sleeping great. Do me a favor and please roll an int check. And I would like the difficulty, just so you are aware, to be... The difficulty is going to be a difficulty 2. So if you can drop it by 6 points, you don't even have to roll.
I mean, I might be able to drop it. What is it in reference to? Like, would it be like Numenera related?
Yes, it is Numenera related.
Okay, I do have understanding Numenera as a skill.
Mm-hmm. So that would drop it to a difficulty 1, so 3.
I do also have, I mean, specifically healing Numenera, but I don't know if that's what it's in reference to.
Mm-mm.
And then like sense magic if there's something active in the area.
Nope, not that.
Okay, so maybe just down to a 3.
Okay, so you do have to roll.
And I'll still go ahead and apply effort just in case.
If you apply effort, you don't even have to roll.
Yeah, I mean, you just
Oh yeah, that's true.
lose the effort. All right, so as you are taking your watch, you're just walking around, and as you're bored, things to keep you awake, you like check your pack, you all of those sort of fidgety things you have to do when you didn't sleep great in the first place. You're stiff, and so you're having to move around, and there's a lot of back bends and trying to crack your thing and complain about that. And then as you're searching your pack, you find that battery that you found when you came out of the tree. And you spend a little bit of time looking at it, just something to, fidget with in your hand. If you could, yeah. So with this, just roll another int check for me real quick, please. Oh yeah, with the 14, you're just spending this time by yourself, and you're looking at this battery, and you recognize this battery, actually. It something comes to your mind, and you're like, wait a minute, this was your battery. If you look, you have an item, a bag, I believe, that has some stuff in it. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Just my bag of batteries?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a bag of batteries, and it's something like there's just like a bag of random batteries, and there's always a chance that if I come across some sort of device that requires power, one of my batteries will fit it.
Yeah, and you remember using this expended battery at some time in your past. And so that is something that I think you ruminate on as you are walking around for the next hour of your watch, is that you realize this battery is mine.
Do I remember specifically what I used it for?
That would be you rolled a 14.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would recognize it as a battery that you used when you first met Hillian.
Like one that I used on Hillian's egg machine, or just like in general, I used it around that same time on something unrelated to Hillian?
On something unrelated to Hillian.
Interesting. Did we establish where we were when we first met Hillian?
We all know how you all met, but we have not talked about it yet on the show.
Okay.
That is something to, maybe bring up through conversation and role play. That is what happens through your night. And then it is morning. It is time for everyone to get up and get ready to get on the road.
I know this isn't canon, but I love the idea that Tiyune has gone through and marked every single battery, so that way everybody, like, if she or someone else ever comes across it, it's like, yeah, Tiyune fixed this.
If she's marking batteries with anything, it's probably the sigil of her mentor, because she also has that like tattooed on her, which I don't think Hillian or Railu would have seen at this point. But if she's marking up batteries, it's probably with that sigil.
I don't know if she is. I just thought it was a funny image.
I do also like that image. I'm just like, every time she gets one, she like gets out a little marker and is like, and now everybody knows.
And I absolutely love that idea. And I think on that note, as Tiyune is going to be getting everyone up, is where we will stop for today. I would like to say thank you to everyone for checking out our show. And I'm Kelrick. I am the GM. You can find me at EQ Points or at Cormelon on Twitter. And Jess.
I'm Jess. You can find me on Twitter at WriteJessR. That's WRITEJESSR. Or you can find all of my social media links and all of the various things that I do. I'm not going to go through the list every time because it's getting ridiculous. You can find it all on my website, writejess.com, WRITEJESS.com.
Hi, I'm Aaron, and you can find all of my stuff at Space Persona on Twitter, and by all of my stuff, I exclusively mean the one thing, which is this.
Hi, I'm Kenny. You can find me on Twitter at PunderDrone. I'm doing all sorts of amazing things, so if you follow me there, I will be pasting all of my stuff across the board, so you'll see it if you follow.
Excellent. And thank you once again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. Are your ears burning for another podcast? We cannot recommend enough checking out our sister podcast, Roll to Fail. There are 6 friends who have no business behind the mic, or even rolling dice. If you like what we create, then you should check out our other 2 podcasts on our network. The original Experience Points podcast is a Starfinder game that releases every Wednesday. Stay up to date on all 3 Experience Points Network podcasts at EQ Points on Twitter and on experiencepoints.com. Pardon our dust as I continue updates on the website. Thank you so much for listening.